Welcome to week 2. This week is really exciting because we're really going to dive deep into this understanding of what our core is, what our breath is, and how to start reestablishing a more functional breath so that we can move and feel better. This is something that has really made a huge impact in my life. These practices have been foundational to my body, to understanding myself, and it really hits at multiple levels. It doesn't just it doesn't just improve the function of your physical movement, but it also improves the function of your cognitive ability and your spiritual practice as well. There's something about the breath that I'm sure that you could see in the previous practices really creates a lot of impact on your system when you breathe differently. Breath is king, as one of my colleagues once said. There's a whole system of muscles here that allow you to flex and extend, rotate, and move in all of these really interesting positions. And there's a whole bunch of muscle here that really acts as a stabilization system. What we're essentially doing this week, and with the exercises that we're going to cover in this module, is allowing you to breathe throughout your entire full range of motion. So, if you were to take a joint, for example, and you were just going to do this motion, eventually the tissues would get, they'd get bigger, they'd adapt, and then eventually if you only did that, they would fatigue and they would get injured because they would not be able to withstand more and more stress. So something very similar happens to your abdominal area, is that we get really crunched down, deflated, and we breathe like this, really shallow, and our diaphragm gets really atrophied. It only starts moving with a little bit of range of motion. It doesn't go through its full range of motion. And the same thing with our abdominal areas, is that there's a sheath of tissue here that is really quite large and very important for allowing you to stabilize your upper body relative to your lower body. And it should be nice and wide. We want this tissue to be nice and wide, and we don't want to have a weak kind of core where this is happening all the time. Few reasons, one of them being that you have all these organs, and if you can imagine, that's a lot of pressure being put on your organs. Another reason is that when we are like this on a more psychosomatic level, it tells our body that we're unsafe and that we're not in a place of strength. So we do want this for many reasons: physiological, emotional. Both of them are very important. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be first sensing the breath, feeling it with our hands, exploring something that some of you might have never explored, which is 360 breathing. We're going to be really emphasizing this expansion of the rib cage to the side and to the back, which is something that even when I first got into this, it was very strange to feel, but made huge impacts on my body. And then we're going to start understanding how to breathe with our abdominal brace at its end range. So we're going to be practicing inhaling, creating a nice solid round barrel, holding, and then allowing our diaphragm to move within that barrel. We're going to take this step by step. So at each stage, you're going to see that there's going to be a little bit of a different challenge. I encourage you to stay with the challenges and follow through with what we're trying to do here, and really test your capacity for what you think is possible, and let yourself do it to the best of your ability, and don't have so much judgment over it, because a lot of times people will say, oh man, I can't breathe, or I can't feel my breath, it really feels quite weird. That's okay. I think this is part of the process that we're going through, is we want to really have compassion for where we're at and learn how to build our capacity with a lot of understanding that maybe it's been a long time since our body hasn't felt or functioned in a way that was optimal. So we want to constantly re-invite that presence and that care into our life, so that we can feel good in the process and not just beat ourselves up.